We talk about everything.
That's another thing.
And
No, Natalie.
because hold on, but we're sitting on the phone. I'm like, damn, this is like strange. I can't even really tell her this, that.
At this point, you're not trustworthy. I don't even know if I can have a genuine conversation with you, because how do I know that whatever I say to you, you're not about to go back and run your mouth?
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Tisha, and I'm so happy to be your host once again. So in today's video, we are going to be going through the most recent release episode of Baddies South with the team name The Divided House. If this is something you are very much interested in getting a scoop on, please stay with me till the very end of this video. Obviously, I'm going to give you snippets in between, as I would always. And yeah, if you're new to this channel, please go ahead to subscribe to this channel, okay, so that you don't miss out on all the juicy topics and all the tea that it brings. Okay, yeah, see you in my next video. So the episode actually started with, the scene, that had the girls, the different girls. You already know, in my previous video I stated already that the girls at some point got separated. There was a clique for Natalie and there was a clique for Jayla, and they they were in separate buses. And when they finally got to the house, a conversation needed to have been had between both groups. And obviously Natalie was the anchor for that conversation. She was the one that was basically heading that conversation. If you watched my previous video, I already gave the intro of the conversation. So basically this episode is a continuation of that conversation. So in case you missed out on that, I'm going to drop the video here so that you can probably after watching this one, you can just go back to that to like probably refresh your memory or something. But yeah, so the girls were finally gathered, one side bearing Natalie's clique, the other side bearing Jayla's clique. Jayla was ready to pop up, because she kind of like approached Natalie, asking why Natalie was not giving her eye contact and if she was scared of giving eye contact. And obviously Natalie was like, no, she wasn't scared of giving eye contact, And at some points Jayla approached Natalie, talking a whole lot, like saying a whole lot, because she was basically like, that she was ready for whatever. A lot of them girls on Natalie's end had been talking a lot, so right now she was ready to like head in on it. So Natalie at first was very, very calm. She was just like allowing Jayla ramble and on. And when she felt like Jayla was approaching, because I think at some point Jayla approached and got interjected by one of the security guards. It was at that same very point that Natalie, I think Natalie was holding on to her box or something, so she dropped it and she was like, okay, let me drop my bag just in case we're about to catch a fade, right? So you know what, I think after like some minutes of because security had to cut in, the production team also had to cut in, like when I say cut in, like they had to like stand in between whatever Jayla was about to do. They stood in and tried to like talk to Jayla. I think I also saw Christian trying to talk to Jayla as well. Probably, I don't know, probably trying to cool her off or something. And very much later, when I feel like her energy or the whole anger had probably died down a bit, the production team left, like they removed themselves from the space between Jayla and Natalie. And that was when Jayla was like, you know what, okay, as you said, there's been a lot of shit going on, or a lot of shit that has happened between both groups, a lot of shit talking from both ends. When she said that Chris Rock was like, she didn't talk shit, Jayla was like, well, I did. And Jayla was like, well, that she did not stop whatever she had going on in her real life just to come and be catching fades. So what, she was ready to like just be on whatever momentum the other ladies were ready to be on. So basically she was like, okay, that we can try to like coexist, right? You just keep your dogs, basically. Actually, she called Nally's girls or Nally's clique dogs. She was like, keep your dogs on a leash on that side while I keep my girls on my own side. We're gonna be cool in separate houses.
We're not even finna do nothing fake. Y'all stay in one house, we'll stay in the other house. You keep your dogs on a leash and I'll keep my girls good.
It really gave a lot of controlling, attitude from Jayla, because like she made it so clear that she was in charge of her girls, like she was, the leader of her gang, right? But Nally made her understand that on her own end there was nothing like a leader. They were all there, on the same level. Probably not, but they were basically, there was no leader, and they were all there chilling and good, with each other. And Jayla didn't feel any type of way about the fact that Nally said, okay, fine, you have made it clear that you're a leader on your own end, but over here there's no leader here. We're just cool on this end. We're good on this end. Jayla didn't give a shit about that. She was like, yeah. Okay, I think at some point Chris Rock interjected saying that, there's no leader, and Jayla cut her short saying, yes, she's the leader. And I was like, ooh, okay. So over to the next scene. The girls finally, go to their different houses. Obviously, I told you already that there were two houses. One was for Natalie's clique and the other was for Jayla's clique. Now, both houses were honestly giving. Like, the interiors were mad. But I have to say, if I were to judge, or if I were to pick between both houses, I would definitely choose Natalie's house, because you need to see the interior of Natalie's house. Like, it was giving. It was honestly giving. Whoever actually did the interior decor for that house took his or her time to make sure that everything came out perfect. Because that house had like the different rooms had like different vibes, There was a vampire room, black and red, that was for Brie. There was like a black and white, vibe that was for Persuasion. Nally's room was everything. Obviously, Nally got the master's bedroom. It was freaking everything. Like, Nally's room was very spacious. The decoration or the interior decor was awesome. And then, should we talk about the shower? The shower was like a whole room of its own. So, like, it was amazing. Plus, she also had a balcony where she could go out and, enjoy the breeze. Brie and Rolly, their room was also sweet. It was like a black background. And obviously, in case you don't know, black is my favorite color. So I actually fuck with Rolly and Slim's room. The only downside with their room was that it was not really spacious, and at the same time they had bunk beds. And you already know that in the previous house in Charlotte City, they also had bunk beds. So like, I actually felt bad for them, because it was like becoming more of a thing. I really don't know why the Zeus production team felt like it's okay to give Big Rolly a small bunk bed. Like, who did the thinking though? But anyway, yeah, so they went into the house. Before they went looking out, or before they went searching for their different rooms, they talked briefly about, the whole thing that had happened outside with Jayla's clique. And they basically didn't say much. They just, they basically just laughed about the fact that, Jayla portrayed herself as the leader of her gang, and, portrayed Nally's clique as, a group of dogs that needed to be kept on a leash. Yeah, basically, they just laughed over it, and, that was it. They then went ahead to, find their different rooms. Like I said, the house that gave the most was definitely Nally's house. Yes, of course. I would say the only thing that drew me to Jayla's house was the jacuzzi. It had this rooftop jacuzzi that was actually cool. For me, who loves an out, I loved everything that has to do with the outer space. Yes, that was actually cool. But if we are going to talk about specifics when it comes to interior decor, hello, Nali's house was everything. Discovering their rooms and being happy about the fact that they got a jacuzzi, that their house had a jacuzzi, which, if you ask me, was not that amazing. It was just there. But yeah, after being excited about the whole rooftop jacuzzi moment, Jayla said they should all go down and have a chit chat, right? Back to Nali's house. Nali, called the girls down for like a mini meeting in the kitchen, and while she was talking to the girls, she basically mentions it was actually Bree and Persuasion that were just there. She mentioned to them that she was going to text Jayla to try to ease things between both groups, because the whole animosity that was now very much settled in the air was not good for the plans and events they needed to catch up with. So basically Nali was like, you know what, I'm going to reach out to Jayla via text so that we can have some kind of verbal some kind of conversation and try to sort things out, so that we can move forward with what we've actually come here to do in Nashville. Obviously, that the girls, when I say the girls, Persuasion in particular was not really feeling the whole, Nali reaching out to Jayla thing. Basically, in my mind, I was like, bro, why now you're doing too much? I know that then you were trying to ease the tension, which unfortunately escalated into something more drastic. But right now, you've already seen the vibe these girls are on. You know what, I don't know about Nali, but I can cut a bitch off. Go out and do your thing with your girls. If they decide to tag along, fine. If they decide they want to do their own thing, fine. Because actually, in Jayla's corner, she had already started telling the girls after they left the whole jacuzzi on the rooftop and gone downstairs to the sitting room to talk. Jayla had already started telling the girls that that basically she was encouraging the whole animosity. She was basically encouraging her girls to be on the go for whenever it will be needed, right? And she also was telling her girls that that they were gonna go out and have fun without the other girls. And I'm like, if this set of girls are so bent on nurturing this animosity, and these other girls on this other end, who, if you ask me, I don't know, let me know in the comment section, who are you betting your money? What group are you betting your money on? If it was gonna be a ring fight between Nali's group and Jayla's group, what group are you gonna bet your money on? For me, damn. Damn, in as much as I really don't like Jayla's group, I feel like Jayla's group is gonna whoop Nali's group's ass. But I might be wrong though. I mean, I see Rolly is 2-in-1 or 3-in-1. But you know what? Just let me know in the comment section. For me, I don't know. I feel like when it comes to who can really fight, the group that has the real actual fighters, I would say is Jayla's group. So obviously I don't want to lose. I'm not trying to lose money here. So hello, it's gonna go to Jayla's group. But where my heart resides, you already know, obviously is with Nali's group, because I'm all about peace. I'm a preacher of love. Hello. So yeah, back to Nali's conversation with the girls. Honestly, I wasn't feeling the whole let me try to make peace, let me try to be the bigger person, because Nali, if you ask me, had done the most. She had actually done the most on a couple occasions in trying to bring the girls back on the same page. So at that point in time, it was so clear that these girls were hell-bent on war. So if I were Nali, I would just mind my own space and allow them girls to do whatever. And the point is, if we are being honest, Nali is the one that put these girls. I don't know. But in my opinion, I feel like Natalie is the one that actually, yes, she's not the producer, she's not the CEO of Zeus and all of that, but like I have a very, very big feeling that she had a last say in, you know, curating these girls into this show. So like, how the hell are you going to go out and do whatever you're supposed to do for the show without the actual curator? How? So like, honestly, if I were Natalie, I'll be like, okay, let me see how well you do without Natalie. Actually, in this particular show, showed me a different side to her, because the Natalie I know is something very ugly. But in this show, she showed me a different side to her that I must say I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so over to Jayla's house, where, you know, she and her girls were in the sitting room talking. You know, Jayla, like I said, was basically trying to instigate, like, you know, more drama. Basically, she was like, she told the girls that, you know, that they were going to be the ones to show them who were the actual girls that ran things. And for me to hear that come out from Jayla's mouth, I'm like, your friend brought you into something and you're already so eager to like kick her off it. Like, damn, Jayla. But anyway, yeah, she went ahead to ask each of the girls how they felt about that statement. Chris Rock said that, you know, she was always going to be on the go. Like, you know, that, you know, Jayla should always know that whatever fight she gets into, she wasn't going to be fighting alone, because she was going to hop in as well. Jayla moved ahead to ask Anne. Anne was like, you know, that she, at that point, or at that particular point in time, she was done exchanging words, that she was ready to just, you know, get into it with whoever, right? That if the person wasn't going to run up, or if the person wasn't running up and getting kicked in the stomach, she was going to be the person, she was going to be the one to like charge at whoever. Basically, that was what she said. And when she asked Scotty, Scotty basically said that, you know, basically rambling, if you ask me, you know, that it's so sad that she didn't really get the opportunity to like, you know, get to like, you know, hear from everyone, or like, you know, understand exactly what was going on. But like, you know, the people she fucks with more, or the people she knows more, they keep coming to her. That when I say knows more, obviously she's referring to Jayla and obviously Christian, come to her with their own side. And now she's like, based on what she has heard from them, she's like, damn, she doesn't even know who to trust. And you know, she's not sure about the other ladies. And in my head, I'm like, honestly, after I allowed her ramble, the only thing I said in my mind was, girl, just shut up. Honestly. Scotty added that, you know, that she feels like the main problem isn't Natalie, that the main problem is Rolly, because Rolly, she mentioned that Rolly tried to like start something up with her back at the airport, saying that, you know, she was fake AF, right, and all of that. And like, she basically said in Scotty's defense, she was like, Rolly had no right to say whatever she said back at the airport, because she didn't really know the issues that she had with Natalie, right? And in my mind, I'm like, what issue did you have with Natalie, Scotty? You just came what day? You just came into the house what day? So what issue? What issue was it? Or is it something that was done off camera? Because, hello, where? When? How? You just freaking came into the house. But after Scotty said that, Jayla interjected, saying that, yeah, Rolly had a lot to say, but then the issue is not Rolly, it's still Natalie. Because if Natalie was actually the boss, as she says she is, and has 15 years in the game, that she would have found a way to diffuse things amongst the girls, instead of like, you know, add more fire or pepper to it. Basically, that was what Jayla said. You know, after the whole annoying conversation that was had amongst this set of girls, Jayla finally, you know, announced it to them that she was finally going to go out and, you know, listen to or hear what Natalie had to say, you know. Okay, guys, over to the conversation that was finally had between Natalie and Jayla. Natalie was on her balcony and Jayla met up with her there. And basically, Natalie's always the one to start these conversations, right? So yeah, Natalie started the conversation with, she basically told Jayla that she was a little bit disappointed and honestly at the same time surprised that Jayla was out there talking a whole lot of shit about her, that people kept coming to her telling her that Jayla was saying this and that about her. And Jayla in her defense was saying that that she was also hearing that Natalie was saying a lot of stuff about her. Jayla, I don't know, I can't even remember the flimsy excuse Jayla gave, but Jayla basically said that Natalie was out there doing the same thing as well. Okay, and she also mentioned that Natalie had done like some kind of went online and said stuff about her, and Natalie corrected her saying that she went online, yes, but she never said anything harmful about her, about Jayla, right? And in between I saw Jayla getting teary saying that she has known Natalie the longest and all that. Like, I'm so happy that Natalie did not even fall for that. Like, Natalie's facial expression when Jayla started shedding all those fake ass tears was definitely given to me, because in my mind I'm like, how do you move from you're ready to exchange punches to I've known you the longest, I'm like, bro, please. But yeah, she did that little mini tear scene there. And when she saw that Natalie was not even in the mood to like entertain such, I mean, the tears, in all honesty, didn't even drop from her eyes. They didn't. But anyway, she rambled on about a little bit about, her knowing Natalie the longest. This agreement and misunderstanding was just based on hearsay. Freaking hearsay. Now, according to Jayla, she said that people kept coming to her, chipping her in her ears that Natalie was saying this and that about her. And on Natalie's end, Natalie was also saying, and I saw it for myself, the things that Jayla was saying. No, let's be honest, since this show actually started from the first episode up until this very episode, let's be honest, who said the most trash about who? Jayla or Natalie? You can answer that in the comment section. So like, who really now is the fake ass bitch one? Like, who is the fake ass bitch here? Let's be honest, Jayla or Natalie? Okay, so Jayla is on here saying that before even filming, or before the filming of the show, that people had come to her with information that Natalie was saying this and that about her. So you mean to tell me that people came to your ears to tell you that Natalie, your so-called friend, was saying things about you? You kept quiet. You have been on the phone with this so-called friend of yours before and after the filming started. You never said anything to her about it. Honestly, when she goes out saying that Natalie is fake, who really is the fake one? In my opinion, if there's anyone fake between Natalie and Jayla, obviously you know that it is Jayla to me, because I have watched this episode, I've watched this show from the first episode up until this very episode, and I can tell you that the person that has said the most trash about the next person is Jayla. In fact, I don't think I've heard Natalie really talk down on Jayla. The things Natalie actually said about Jayla was in response to what she had heard that Jayla was saying about her. Jayla entered that house, and from day probably 2, she was already talking ill of Natalie. Now, if her response, or if Jayla is going to justify that by saying that, okay, it's because right from time, even before the filming of the show, I heard that Natalie had been talking ill of me. The question still now comes to, did you ever approach Natalie and ask her on those alleged things that were said about you from her? Like, did you? No, but you have been on the phone with her since before the show, and even after the show you are still friends, like, or you were still in the same building sharing the same space. So like, who is the fake ass one here now? But yeah, had that conversation. You know, obviously Natalie was not in the mood to, like, you know, get into any fight with Jayla. So she just basically like tried to like smoothen things out by saying, okay, she actually apologized. She was like, okay, you know what, I apologize for whatever, if you ask me, because I didn't see what Natalie was actually apologizing for. But yeah, she basically apologized, and she was like, see, we have tons of activities to catch up with here in Nashville, and like, this whole bad energy is not going to help us achieve anything. So I would appreciate it if you know, try to gather your girls. I'll do the same for mine, and we'll all just go out and have a good time this night. And then she also talked about, you know, the activities for the next day. But she was like, for that very particular night, they had things they needed to go out to do. And you know, Jayla was like, okay. They hugged it out fakely, and you know, basically, you know, went to get their different girls. A group of girls on one side, a group of dogs on the other. So I don't know. So yeah, they went to like get their girls, and yes, that was it for that particular scene. The very last scene, it was the scene of the girls finally, you know, all glammed up and ready to go hang out. So they went out. They had this very big, large, this very huge tractor that had been set up for them. They went into the tractor and, you know, started, you know, driving around Nashville. And you know, Natalie was doing the most with her what they call this phones. What they call this? I don't know. I've forgotten the name, but yeah, is it megaphone? I think. Yes, doing the most, announcing their presence. You know, some, you know, watchers or passerbys with clapping and all of that. And yeah, well, I can tell you for sure that there was a division in that truck. It was so obvious that these girls, regardless of the fact that Natalie and Jayla had kind of like fakely addressed their issues, or like fakely resolved their issues. In fact, I shouldn't use the word resolve, but like fakely tried to, like, you know, just, you know, push it behind themselves. It was so obvious that these girls really were not feeling, like, these two different groups or cliques were not feeling each other. Natalie's clique was on their end having fun with themselves. Jayla was on the other end having fun with themselves. The only persons from opposite cliques that were vibing with each other were Natalie and Jayla. And I think at some point, you know, Chris Rock was dancing, twerking and all of that, and Natalie was like spanking on her ass and all of that. That was the only connection I saw happen in that particular scene. These girls were obviously stoned, but even in that state, they still knew that they were ups in the air. They still knew that there was, you know, there was no mingling. There wasn't gonna be any mingling. So like for like, honestly, that shows how deep that animosity was. Because I mean, once the alcohol kicks in, you're supposed to be like, you know, I don't give a shit about who and who. You know, you just have a good time. But these girls were stoned, they were high, but man, there was no form of mingling. Okay guys, so this brings us to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead to subscribe. If you love to hear more or get more, you know, intel on amazing shows like this, please support the channel, share, like, you know, and subscribe so that you don't miss out. Also, be sure to hit the notification bell so that whenever I drop a video, you know. See you in my next video. Bye.